Today on Diagnostic Guru, it is a huge joy for me to bring to you Christine Knapp, who is a NeuroCoach and a transformational guide for high achieving women who are ready to break free from their challenges of being a power woman. I've actually been working with Christine for the past year, and I'm really excited to share her with you all and my Diagnostic Guru listeners. So, Christine, welcome today.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be a guest on your podcast, Leslie.
Oh my God, I feel like this is
Ah,
a poignant moment, you know?
it is. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm excited to share you today with everybody else because I really want to dig into who you are and your background and what you do and how you help high achieving women,
Yep.
executive leaders, in this very can be toxic environment. But before we dig into who you are and what you're about, I would love for you to just share with us what has been your greatest success so far.
So, a greatest success completely in life or in my business career?
Whichever. I mean, you could do both if you'd like, if you want to.
Well, look, I'm always going to say that my greatest success is are my children. I love and adore my children. My daughter is 20 and my son is 17, and I love the people that they've grown up to become. And it's so exciting for me to just be their mom and to watch them grow and watch them face challenges and, work on their mindset a little bit whenever they
Mhm.
want to take and listen to their mom. So that to me will always be my greatest accomplishment. For my career, though, my greatest accomplishment was quitting my corporate job at the age of 49, 48. And yeah, in 2023 and stepping out to launch this coaching business. It was people, well, only one person, someone I love very much, but said, "Well, but listen, Christine, but you've got this salary and you have health insurance." That's what everyone says, right? Before you
Yeah.
take the leap into entrepreneurship. It's like, "But you have health insurance." Well, I'm super healthy. And so I just ultimately said, forget it. I've got to try this because if I don't try this now, I will regret it.
Yeah.
I just I like to fast forward to the end of my life and look backwards and say, like, what can I do that will let me sleep at night? And
Yeah.
quitting my job allowed me to sleep at night. Yeah.
Well, it's been a few years of you being a neuro coach. Could you talk
Yeah.
a little bit about what that is? How'd you
Yeah.
come about this profession? How you
Yeah.
found that this is your calling?
Well, I always felt that this was my calling, helping people. I was steered away from it, as a kid. In the 90s, growing up in the 90s, starting college in 1992, the field of psychology and therapy was just starting to grow.
Hmm.
And I was talked out of it, talked into business, and I went the business route, and I love it because everything I learned in business is what's helped me grow my business today. But it's been a really long and winding road. So I actually entered into a graduate degree program for clinical mental health counseling. I completed 30 out of 60 credits and realized I had to make a major life change detour. So I left that program and I ended up starting a magazine. I started my first magazine in 2014.
I didn't know that
And
about you. That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And that is essentially what got me into coaching because I started the magazine I had about 33 businesses on board to advertise with me. I got
Mhm.
that in about 12 weeks. And immediately I was asked to start coaching and mentoring other franchise owners throughout the US. So I started coaching people who were doing what I was doing. And long story short, I stayed in that role. They kept inviting me back in. At one point, I stepped away and said, listen, I have to focus on my children. They were young. I need to focus on my children. And I had two magazines at the time but I missed it. So I went back into coaching and mentoring and I got my first coaching certification from ICF. And I realized it wasn't the training I'd received was amazing, but it wasn't quite enough to really
Mm,
create transformational mindset change. So when you're a
mm,
business owner, it's a very difficult path because when you're in it for yourself, you face every one of your worst habits, worst limiting beliefs, and
yeah.
bad patterns, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
it
Yeah.
takes a lot of mindset work to get your mind right, to stay focused on, what is necessary for you to achieve your goals. And so I sort of got obsessed with learning how to help these franchise owners meet their goals. And then I stumbled across the neuro coaching certification. So once I did that, I rewired my own brain
Mm.
around my fear of, staying in the comfort in the safe zone of staying in corporate, and decided to launch based on my experience with the neurocoaching. So yeah, that's how I ended up here. So it's grateful for every pivot that I had in my life. I feel like it was all served a purpose.
Yeah, no, and I've never heard of neurocoaching. I mean, somebody who got their graduate degree in neuroscience, I mean, I know all too well, right? How much the mind can play tricks on us and how much it controls our everyday habit and how important the rewiring is. But I think really learning the tools of how to do that. I never thought about doing it in the workplace versus in a personal life because most people are
Yes.
focused on their personal, which is just as important, right? Because we bring that to the workplace. But could you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you approach your coaching to bring this mindset of, into the workplace? And what are some examples of how that's been transformative for you, but let alone your clients?
Well, so usually when someone comes to me for coaching and it is about people, sometimes people come to me for coaching specifically around their personal life, and then other times it's around things that are going on in their career. Um, Almost every time we see that there are parallels.
Mm.
So we'll uncover some, behaviors and triggers and mindsets that are happening in the workplace. And as they start to develop this awareness around what's going on and what is their subconscious causing them to do, they realize, wait a minute, I've got this other situation in my personal life where this is showing up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it always starts with awareness. So when someone comes to me for career, coaching, it starts with awareness. It starts with really getting clear on where they're feeling stuck, and also casting a vision for what they want to create. Like, what are we going for? Because coaching is all about getting you from point A to point B. It's very forward focused. However,
Mhm.
when I do the neuro coaching, it very typically shows up that when someone is recognizing a pattern that they have in their present, that it is linked to something from the past.
Mhm.
A lot of times when I'm coaching around career, it is linked to toxic work environments that the people left. Someone left a toxic work environment. Maybe they had a narcissistic boss, or a boss that exhibited and engaged with them in a very narcissistic way,
Mhm.
and caused the individual to doubt themselves, wonder, was it me? And then of course, as we dive in, they have this wonderful space to realize, wait, this wasn't me. Like this was not a good
Yeah.
situation. And so starting that healing process and then helping them cast that vision for what they want to create with their life, and building some brain primes and neural pathway primes to kind of get their brain wired into that future instead of looking at the past.
It's really interesting. Is this sort of how, building the brain prime, you find that when you're starting with somebody, especially us women leaders, I'm sure the biggest thing I know that you deal with is like imposter syndrome or
A
I
lot of
I
imposter syndrome. Yeah.
or I don't deserve to be here or I have no value or what. Like we're always trying to prove ourselves. So how do you help, women particularly kind of get over this adversity or if they have anxiety and how to get
Yeah.
unstuck?
So in particular, when it comes to imposter syndrome, when it's their self-limiting beliefs. So because I'm working with women who are highly intellectual and very logical, I take a two-step approach. So I will explain to them the data, the evidence, and what the research shows about imposter syndrome. I took a continuing education course last year from ICF. And so, we talk about how it shows up, but so there's the logic. So your brain can grasp onto that and understand, like, wait a minute, this is a common thing. Imposter syndrome was first recognized in the field of psychology in 1978. There have been like over 15 or 2,500 studies done about it.
Wow.
So grasping onto that logic, but then really taking them a deep dive into what are those limiting beliefs?
Yeah.
What are they? And are
Yeah.
they real? And where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, most of my clients don't, well, at first they don't know where it came from, but we explore, and then, we isolate what those limiting beliefs are, and then it's very simple. Like the actual process to rewiring is pretty simple, but
Yeah.
getting there is sometimes like climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the growth mindset, concept.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are afraid of change, and growth to them means that they're changing, right? And how to overcome that. So, have you had examples of where maybe someone just couldn't get there, and
Um,
they kept falling back to their habits?
no, I don't.
Good.
Everyone changes to the extent that they're comfortable changing, but no one has ever slipped all the way back. Never.
That's
I
fantastic.
have coached some women who in sometimes just maybe needed or wanted, desired to leave their husbands, let's say.
Mm,
And they circle back to me maybe like 6 or 8 months after we ended coaching and and they say, I finally did it, right? They just needed that
yeah.
incubation period.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Well, since the majority of your clients are women, and we're in a tough economy right now,
Yeah,
and a
it's been
lot,
tough since like I noticed it last summer, especially in August. There was a major drop off. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of us, are our own primary, maybe sole proprietors, or building our own businesses, because that's something that you work with is entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneur spirits.
Hmm.
What are the biggest issues you see that as us women in these positions are facing today as it pertains to money?
Well, I think that the economy for sure has had a big impact on
Mm,
a lot of women that I've met. They've found that their business slowed down. Like last year, if they had booming business in years prior, I've talked to women who said like that last year was their lowest income revenue generating year. So, striking the balance and being comfortable in the discomfort,
mm,
and then just figuring out what can I control and what can I do, um to to what can I do that's going to let me know that I've done everything I can do, and then
yeah,
how do I adjust? How do I make adjustments with my expectations, maybe my lifestyle, in this environment where the economy has definitely, not been great, at these higher level, businesses and as entrepreneurs.
yeah. And I think something I do want to know is specifically for me is I feel that we don't ask for enough. Like our
Oh,
work,
okay. So when it comes, yeah, well,
right?
for sure, that is a thing.
Yeah.
And when you say we don't ask for enough, like women don't feel comfortable going in and asking for more money, asking for what they're worth in a corporate situation, going in and asking for a raise. Whereas men they have no problem doing that for whatever reason. Any man I've ever known in my personal life, like have no problem. Like that's just a course of conversation.
Yeah.
And so I do work with women on the mindset around asking for what you're worth.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
definitely something I find of huge value because it's not like it's something you're taught, to,
Yeah, sadly, we're not taught it. We're not.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I mean, I really do blame just societal conditioning for that.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
when a little girl is assertive on the playground, when she's a little girl's assertive and maybe she's starting to tell people what to do, she's called bossy. And that's a big negative connotation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a little girl that's strong and knows what she wants, and she's getting these messages around her that that's not good. You should be what's a nice little girl? A nice little girl is quiet and demure, and especially Gen Xers, we were raised that way.
Yep.
I do think that this younger generation, because we Gen X moms think to ourselves, I'm going to let my daughter be as strong as she wants to be and speak her mind and do whatever she wants to do. I'm never going to try to take that from her. That this
Mhm.
younger generation gets the benefit of what we've learned the hard way, that it's
Yeah.
okay to speak, it's okay to use your voice, it's okay to ask for what you're worth. It's you should know what you're worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so true. I'm finding it too, you just actually a personal situation happened today with my daughter. We've talked about this. You've given me some great advice because as you know, I have my daughter's much younger and you've already been
Yeah.
through this with yours. Um, what I'm also finding a bit of the challenge is I'm an older mom. So
Mm.
I'm a Gen Xer mom raising a daughter where most the other moms are the millennials or. And
Yes.
so that's a whole different sort of situation.
Dynamic.
But yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I find it
The millennial
challenging.
generation of women, I think they're amazing. I've coached quite a few of them.
Yeah,
I feel like they got a really bad rep for a while, but
yeah. Why
they're
is that?
strong. I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know because as I started coaching them, I'm like, these women, they're like, I'm gonna be this, and I'm gonna figure out the way. And they are so much stronger to ask for what they wanted, to stand up for themselves. I mean, we could all take some lessons from millennials. I mean,
I agree.
successful millennial women, honestly.
I
Yes.
I agree. And so it's definitely a new way of seeing things too, right? When you have your own daughter and you're trying to
Yes.
teach her new things and try to do things that you didn't do
Right,
from
exactly.
experience,
Exactly. Yes,
which
yes.
they never want to hear. So
Well, especially at a young age. Like it wasn't until my daughter was like 18 or 19 that I felt like she was asking me
yeah,
to listen to what I
yeah,
had to say. Yeah.
yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, the premise of this podcast, we
Yeah.
always try to dive into in the middle of the conversation about what, from your experience, what is your one good and one bad and one ugly?
So I would say my one good was what I mentioned earlier, starting a magazine in
Yeah.
2014. I did that all by myself. I created something from nothing, and that magazine was in print. I kept it in print for 8 years, and it
Wow.
created an amazing. The purpose of the magazine was to create community among affluent homeowners. And in fact, I just taught hot Pilates today, and two women that I met from when had that magazine
Yeah.
are, my friends. I'm going away in 2 weeks with women that I met from the
Wow.
magazine. And so just an amazing community was created every now and then.
Yeah.
I'll have the opportunity to go to an event where people say like, "Oh, we miss Blue Mountain Living," because it brought people together. So that was really, I think that was my really good thing. And plus, then I also, had that wonderful experience with the organization that really just kept pulling me into coaching and
Hmm.
led me down this path of neurocoaching, which I feel like is my purpose. I feel
Yeah.
like we kind of everyone has a purpose or a gift that that when we should develop it. If we know that this is our purpose and this is our gift, then use it.
Well, I think that's a beautiful good in a sense because you were your own entrepreneur and
Yes.
now you coach entrepreneurs. So you know what it's
Hmm.
like.
Oh yes. Yes.
And the challenges that it brings. And also, starting a magazine is not an easy thing, especially during when digital era comes out and all of that. So
Yes. Oh yes. Yes. That changed things, but the magazines are still in print. The company is still doing incredibly well. They're
nice.
thriving. They have 3 or 4 different products now. So yeah, yeah, it creates a very good opportunity for, especially because I was doing that as a single mom, and so
Yeah.
I would work really hard from September until May, and then I would take the summer off and spend the summer with my children.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and they supported that. They loved that. They loved to hear stories like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, there's always bads and uglies that come out of
Yes.
situations, but a lot of times they turn into good. So could you share some of that personal information?
Yeah. So I think, my bad was just stepping back into corporate when I was with the franchise.
Hmm.
I closed my magazines and I was in charge of the performance coaching department. It was myself and another woman, and we had 40 performance coaches who coached, there was about 500 franchise owners around the
Wow.
United States. And And just stepping back into corporate for me just felt incredibly suffocating. So
Mm,
it was very suffocating. I didn't like not having, I had some autonomy with my schedule, but I was sitting in a lot of Zoom meetings and I just really realized how much I really value my autonomy and my
mm-hmm,
freedom. I
mm,
hated sitting in my office all day on Zoom in the summertime. So that was my bad, but it was also really good because I was challenged very in a big way to be in charge of, with a coworker, to be in charge of like directing what the coaching was going to look like for that
yeah,
organization. And
yeah,
so I learned a lot about speaking my mind and standing up for what I believed in and dealing with the corporate structure up at the top.
mm-hmm.
Um, so that was bad, but it was also really good because it did challenge me and grow me a lot as a professional woman, as a professional leader.
So you learned from it, but maybe just the structure wasn't what you thrived in,
Yeah,
with,
I mean, I learned a lot, and I had
yeah,
major imposter syndrome when I took that job.
wow,
Major. It
wow.
was so bad. I was having like panic attacks. And
Oh,
then, after a year or so, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can do this. Of course, I know what I'm doing. I have a certification and training. So
yeah.
my confidence grew a lot in that. A lot
What
too.
was
Yeah.
the switch that got you out of that,
Well, it was so I used to hate to speak on Zoom. I had to run meetings. It was just repetition.
Yeah,
So this was before I knew anything about neurocoaching, but just like whenever you do something for the first time or the second time, and if it's something brand new, your brain is going to perceive that as a threat. Now I understand this. My brain was throwing up red flags. Plus I have imposter syndrome that gets triggered when I'm challenged to my next level. In fact, I
mm-hmm.
have a friend who could tell you all about that because I went to her house, 3 times last year sobbing about my imposter syndrome. She's like,
Yeah,
Christine, I've never seen you like this. I'm like, I know, I can't help it. I have it. So, because what's interesting about imposter syndrome they've uncovered is that if you have it, you have it. You can minimize it. You can learn how to work with it. But when you
yeah,
get to that next level, your imposter is going to show up. It
yeah. It's like
doesn't really
triggered, right?
it's triggered. It's totally triggered. And the thing is
Yeah.
that some people might have an imposter, but they don't ever discover it because they don't ever go to the next level. You know what
Mm.
I
But
mean?
that's a
Yeah.
growth mindset though, don't you think? That you're able to push
Yep.
yourself to the next level and overcome it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because
Wow.
I value the follow through and the win more than I valued my comfort.
Mm. Powerful.
So the
Yeah.
easy way out would be to say no, to not even go for the job, like not even put my name in the hat to be the performance coach manager. Or when it got stressful and I felt the imposter, to just walk away somehow, to just say, you know what,
Yeah.
I this isn't for me. I just want to go back to running my magazines. I'm good.
Yeah.
But
The
I just kept,
comfort, right? The
yeah, yeah,
comfortable. Yeah.
exactly. Right, right. But the things that stressed me out and gave me the most anxiety, after a while, when you do it a repetition, do it enough time, my brain built some neural pathways, and eventually I showed myself that it was safe. It was safe for me to do that. And now running group coaching sessions on Zoom is my favorite thing to do. I love it. Well, it's not my total favorite because I do also love one-on-one coaching, but anytime I
Yeah.
have an opportunity to lead a group coaching, I love it.
Interesting.
And it was the thing that I was the most scared about in that role.
Wow. Do you feel from that that that's kind of your ugly because here you are helping other women overcome this and yours kept triggering and coming back.
Well, no, I have a real ugly from my
Oh,
20s. I
okay.
have an ugly. Um, in my 20s, I had a boss that really just hit on me, right?
Oh,
And it was right
oh
after
yeah.
I got a promotion. And it was a significant promotion that I actually didn't want. I said,
Mm,
if you're offering me this position because you have to
yeah.
fill a quota and you need a woman in this role, I don't want it.
Good for
And he kept,
you.
and well, but then after the third time of him asking me, I finally said, okay, fine, I'll take this position. And then he hit on me.
And he
And
wants something in return.
that's what I thought. And I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
I mean, I took an antidepressant back then in my 20s.
Yeah.
I was like
Yeah.
sick about it.
Yeah.
But again, silver lining, he got promoted.
Okay.
and moved on, and they brought in a new manager. And then this gentleman was amazing. have
Wow.
he was amazing. He loved his wife. He was so kind to me, and he actually rated me higher than the other boss. So I
Interesting.
like in it was a rating of like, could you be outstanding was the highest, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then there was
Uh-huh.
EP excellent plus. The new boss that came in that loved his wife, it was a very platonic relationship. He relied on me to because he knew that I would be honest with him and I would challenge him because I'm definitely not a yes person. And he would rely on me to make better decisions, to hear like, what does Christine have to say? And then he rated me outstanding. And I was like, so then it validated like, okay, I am capable of doing this role.
Yeah, you deserve that promotion.
Yes, but after what happened, I for 2 years, it was
You
rough.
I didn't endure it for 2 years. It took that
And it
long.
was way, but so this is the 90s. This
Yeah,
happened in
yeah,
the 90s. This
yeah.
is the late 90s. Maybe early 2000s, actually, like maybe 2000, 2001.
Hmm.
Maybe 90, but anyway, um, no one talked about this.
Oh no.
No
Well,
one
what
talked
would
about
happen
this
if
kind of.
he never got promoted? You know?
Oh, right, I know. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and it's not like you could go. Did you go? You didn't go to HR or anything, did you?
No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
know. Like,
You
we
just
didn't know
managed it.
anything. We didn't
Yeah.
know
You
anything.
just
We were Gen X. I was a Gen
yeah.
X person. Like,
You have
you
to
just shut your
abide.
mouth and dealt with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to
That's what we
abide.
do as a generation. Just
Yeah.
figure it
Oh wow.
out.
But
Yeah.
it's fantastic to hear though. I like hearing that another male came in and
Oh, it was
almost became
such a
like a
blessing.
mentor and just
To-
changed that whole mindset for you.
he was the best boss I've ever had. I haven't had that many bosses, honestly, because I spent most of my career as an entrepreneur. But best boss, I had the best advice from him. He was the best mentor, and was so grateful. I learned so many things from him.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
there's so many women out there that this has happened to and they don't share it, and it's still happening, even when, they've strengthened a lot of the HR training and stuff that we have to go through.
yeah,
It's just sad that that's something that we have to deal with. It's just not fair. Well,
yeah,
thank you for sharing that with me, but it sounds like there's a lot of good that came through that and learning experiences. So I'm sure that
yeah,
situation was not easy.
yes, yeah. Thank you. Hmm.
Moving back to more about the sort of the growth mindset and what you do as a neuro coach, can you explain some of the more effective ways to shift from maybe people who are more limiting and their mindset to growth and even how do they face that adversity and how they overcome it?
Yeah. So the most important thing, if people are listening to this, the thing that you have to remember is that thoughts create emotions, and from that emotional place, we take actions, and our
Mm,
actions will always mirror our thoughts. Okay.
mhm,
So whatever you focus on, whatever you if you when you're not in control of what you're focusing on, if you're focusing on and our brain we have a natural negativity bias. So
mm,
until we really wire in positivity and to look optimistically at things, our natural tendency is to see everything in the worst case scenario in the worst light, right? And when you do that, how does it make you feel? When you're looking at something negatively and you're focusing on all the lack and how things aren't going right, it makes you feel sad. It makes you feel bad. Then you make the decisions from that place. So it's so important to start, one of the simplest things to do, and it's so people talk about it so much that I don't even like to say it because it sounds almost cliche and cheesy, is really, though, it does work. You have to focus on gratitude. Just start with gratitude. There are things that are going right and well in your life. Focus on
yeah.
gratitude and start to cultivate that feeling of positivity and gratefulness. Maybe fill your time. If you're in a situation of adversity, fill your time with doing spare time any moment you can, doing something that you enjoy. Become aware of like what fills you up, what fills your
Mhm.
cup, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel relaxed. What do you do that when you do it, you enjoy it so much you lose a sense of time? Maybe it's exercising, maybe it's spending time
Mhm.
talking to your best friend, maybe it's just spending time with your spouse, but start to get your mind to focus on what's good. There's always something good in your life. And
Yeah.
then start to dream about what's possible because we have authority over our lives. We can just, everything is one decision away. Change is one decision away. So even
Yeah.
though if you're in adversity and you're in a career or a job that you don't like, you're one decision away from changing that. However, to get your brain into that comfort level of changing that, after you start to focus on what's good, start to cast a vision of like what do you want your life to look like? You know,
Yeah.
what do you want? Like for me, I said, you know what? I don't like to not be in control of my time. I don't want to
Yeah.
work, sit in front of Zoom every day. I want something different. So what does that look like? And then your brain, when you start to create the vision for what you want, your brain will find the opportunities. Your
Mm-hmm.
brain will start to focus on the possibilities instead of all the negatives, right? You're in the
So
negatives, you're in the
powerful.
adversity, and you just and as much as you can take your emotion away from what is going on around you, the
Yeah.
better, right? Where you
Yeah.
just find your, you and I've talked about Buddhism, right? Find your inner
Yeah.
Buddha and just observe without attachment, right?
Yeah.
Observe what's going on without any emotional attachment to it because that emotional attachment is will drain you. Will
Yeah.
drain you.
It's a
Yeah.
power. I mean, your mind is a
So
powerful thing.
powerful.
Yeah. It can switch so quickly. Well, let's
Yep.
take an example here in the end of our
Okay.
conversation. Um, so what kind of advice would you give to me as a woman leader who had the drive to launch my own business and I've hit a wall? Like I just find the demands of my time and the finances that I have to put into it are really impossible to balance. So what kind of guidance could you offer, in this
Okay. So
challenging
so the
situation?
issue is you don't have the time to put into it
Yeah.
and you don't have the finances.
Yep.
Okay. So first of all, I would say those are two, especially the time is a limiting belief.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'd have to coach through what is your perception and of time and how like so there's strategy and then there's the strategy of like time management and
Mm-hmm.
then assessing where you're spending your energy.
Yeah.
And then there's uncovering the root cause of the belief that
Mm.
is making you feel so negative and pessimistic about the
Yes.
situation. And look, so then I also do believe that my mother used to say people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Well, I
Mm.
also think that careers show up and we
Yeah.
go on paths that are for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And
Yeah.
so maybe so then it's a matter of like so what I would say is get
Mm.
quiet and spend some time looking inward and really
Mm.
contemplating what your next step is. Because maybe when you really look inward, you'll find that this step is not aligned anymore. And so then again, then you've got to be open to
Yeah.
what does show up.
Yeah. That's that to me can be the scary part, right? But also exciting.
But
What
you
could
have
show up?
made yeah, what could show up.
Yeah. What could show up?
And yet your life is a history of being open and like fearlessly stepping into the next season,
Yeah. It's true.
right?
It's so true. Yeah. No, no. Well, thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
doing that little case
Yeah.
study. I
Yes.
appreciate that. So I'm sure there's other women out there who are in similar situations or, patterns, et cetera, that can take from that and learn from that. I love the piece about get quiet, you know?
Get
There's
quiet.
so
And
much noise all the time, I feel, especially as career moms, right?
right. Right. And so
Yeah.
really, really, but finding that it is not something that we do or celebrate in our Western society, this culture. But being quiet and spending time just with yourself and with your own thoughts. And a neuro tip is that the part of your brain that is activated to help you sort through your thoughts and your fears when you speak, like it's one of the reasons why talk therapy became so popular. Coaching is, one of the, as a coach, my goal is to talk like maybe 25 or 30% of the conversation and for you to talk so that you can process. So that part of your brain that gets activated when you speak also gets activated when you write. So
Mm,
journaling is
yes.
so important, but it's got to be pen to paper
Yeah.
or pen to paper. Don't type. It's got to be pen to paper because our brains haven't evolved to the point yet where it's going to process the same way if we're typing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love journaling. So I'm not as good. I should keep up with it more, but I gotta get back to it. Well, we're coming on time, unfortunately, and I always love talking to you. I could talk to you for hours.
I've enjoyed this so much. Thank you.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, me too. So to end, what would you say your superpower is?
Well, I think my superpower, it's funny because everyone's greatest strength is also their greatest weakness.
Mm,
I discover this coaching all the time. My superpower, I think, is my optimism, like always finding the silver
you
lining,
are.
right?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. I appreciate that. Now, now where it becomes a problem is that sometimes I might trust people or situations that I really shouldn't
Yeah.
because I'm all, things are
Giving
rosy.
everyone the benefit of the doubt,
Everyone the
right?
benefit of the doubt, even though maybe
Yeah.
there's some red flags and
Yeah.
yes. So
It,
yeah.
it can be a double-edged sword, but I love the optimism. I find it very uplifting and infectious, really.
Thank
There's
you.
not enough
Thank you.
people out there that go through life like that. And we need more of that in the way the world is today. So
Yeah.
keep it
Oh,
up.
I
Don't
appreciate
stop.
it. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, Christine, always a pleasure. I'm so excited to share you with my DG listeners, and I know we'll be
Amazing.
talking soon. And thanks again for coming today.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.